Hi darling, let's get weird. This is gonna be a fun one. I have collected a list of some unusual habits that bring our practice deep into the fabric of everyday living. Do I even know why I do it? This one feels personal. I feel a little bit shy sharing this one. Why not do it during the movie? Okay, this is fun. Oh, I just thought of another one that wasn't even on my list. There's just this small thing that you can do that people just get a little kick out of. Hey, I'm a 90s girl. I grew up watching and worshiping Oprah. It's just giving yourself permission to I've been really looking forward to making this video, but more than that, I can't wait to read your comments because I just know you have some really weird ones too. Look, practice can be fun. Whether we're trying to bring more presence into our life or more light and these bright qualities like gratitude and appreciation and love and connection and wonder, we can have fun doing it. And sometimes there's some less typical or traditional ways that we can bring this into our everyday living. So the first one I want to talk about is this habit that I have, and this probably comes from doing embodiment practices and discovering that there's a lot that we can learn from how animals are in their bodies, but it's taking a big, happy, releasing sigh. I don't know what else to call it. So it's like what you might see an animal do or even a small child, and it's returning to that place where we give ourselves permission to just really revel in a moment of pleasure or relaxation or goodness. A lot of times as adults, it's like we don't really give ourselves permission to have a full-bodied expression of joy. Even our facial expression is somewhat controlled and restrained. Certainly the shapes and the movements that we make with the body, the noises that we allow to escape from us. In a moment when you're really feeling good, it's just giving yourself permission to And it already just makes me feel joyful and relaxed. And a lot of times there's like a release in the body too. And it's really about reveling and really sucking the marrow out of a moment of feeling good. Okay, the next unusual good habit is mindful movie watching. So a lot of us, when we turn on television or turn on any media, there's this sense of engaging in a mindless activity, right? We shut down. And hey, there's a time and a place to give your brain a rest and shut down and just passively watch something. However, it can still be restful if we choose to, for example, watch a movie in a mindful way. And what that might look like is sometimes when I'm watching a movie, I'm really just paying attention. And maybe that seems obvious and we already all do that, but really doing and really paying attention to colors, shapes, textures, facial expressions, the tone of voice, sounds, lighting. That's so fun to really pay attention to lighting sometimes. And so in this way, we're really practicing this capacity to pay attention, which of course we know being deliberate about what we pay attention to is a really empowering skill. But during a movie, it can also be this way to appreciate the art of the movie, the work of the actors, the lighting, the sound, all of it in a deeper way. And not only can you practice the skill of paying attention and choosing where you place your attention, you can also practice loving kindness. If there's a character that's in difficulty, you can really open your heart toward them, wish them well, send compassion to the characters that you see. And this is a small thing that you can do, and it's almost like a little game that you can play with yourself while you're watching the movie. But what you're doing is you're actually, just like a muscle, you're practicing and strengthening this capacity to pay attention, to feel compassion, to radiate kindness. And so why not do it during the movie? Okay, this is fun. So this next habit is a little bit similar to the one before. This is what I like to call loving kindness people watching. So what I mean is, especially if you can park yourself on a bench in a city or in a park or somewhere where there's a lot of action, it's this beautiful practice, instead of being lost in thoughts and ruminating or whatever you might be doing in that moment, to really shift the center and observe people around you and just practice sending out warmth, friendliness, kindness, compassion, and maybe, if your heart's open for it, even love. And so whatever you're doing, it just shifts that moment, and all of a sudden you're full of warm fuzzies. You really leave this experience. Personally, when I do that, I'm floating afterwards, because you've actually done a deep practice and you've activated these positive qualities in the heart. And especially if you're maybe not in a great mood before, it's a super cool way to transmute your mood. And this is also really fun to do in traffic sometimes, especially if you're starting to slip into a bad mood. You can take that moment to, oh, I can use this as a practice. And you can look around and send kindness and send warmth and send goodwill, especially if there are people who are maybe also not in a good mood. Maybe that'll radiate outwards. Maybe that'll create a little ripple effect, a smile. Oh, I just thought of another one that wasn't even on my list. But sometimes what I do is, even if I'm like not really in the mood to, sometimes what I'll do is deliberately sing to myself in the car, or just do anything weird, honestly, but something joyful, knowing that people will be seeing me as they drive by, and whether they make fun of me or have a chuckle about it, or whether that spreads joy, there's just this small thing that you can do that people just get a little kick out of. So dancing, singing in the car, just acting goofy, and you never know, it could really brighten someone's day, and it definitely brightens your own day. Okay, this one. Gratitude strolls at home. Hey, I'm a 90s girl. I grew up watching and worshiping Oprah, and we all know the power of gratitude. If Oprah didn't convince you, there's so much neuroscience. Okay, so what I like to do, and this might come from my background as an immigrant and being uprooted and displaced several times in my life. But for me, having a stable home, having a comfortable home is something that I really don't take for granted. Even still, days and weeks and months and years go by, and after a while, it's like you're not even seeing your home, right? Things fade into the background. Something that I might have placed on a shelf and sparked a lot of joy, now I barely even see when I walk by. So sometimes I like to do what I call these gratitude strolls. So it's usually when I'm home alone and in the mood to do something weird, and I'll just walk around the home as if it's a museum and really pause to appreciate every little thing. So yes, it could be the piece of art that I lovingly put up on the wall and then don't really even see anymore. It could be different objects that spark nice memories. It could even just be conveniences. Honestly, a lot of times it's like knowing that I have running water on demand and I can choose the pressure and the temperature. That's amazing. So yeah, little things like that, to really just almost walking around and saying thank you to the countertop, thank you to the table, thank you to the teacup, whatever it is. And just, we have so much. If you're watching this video, you have the time and space in your life to watch YouTube on a device, you probably have a pretty good life. It's worth slowing down and really appreciating it. Okay, so the next one is actually related to that. What I do is, so I've always loved cleaning. It's the kind of family I come from. 99% of the time, I really like cleaning. And I'll put loud music on. It's like a fun activity for me. It helps me relax. It helps me unwind. It makes me feel really good. Not just when you step back and the house is sparkling and that feels really good, but even during it. One way that I weave in a practice is similar to a gratitude stroll in the home. As you're doing the cleaning, really expressing gratitude to whatever the object is. So if you're doing the dishes, you're expressing gratitude to every dish and how it served you and supported you in your health and well-being or enjoyment. As you're cleaning the bathroom, you can really appreciate the convenience of running water and having indoor plumbing and all of that. As you're folding laundry or doing laundry, lovingly folding each garment, you can express appreciation and gratitude to how it clothes you and shelters you and keeps you warm. I really mean it that cleaning the house can become a devotional act. I really would call it devotional house cleaning. It can truly be a sacred activity where you are, especially if you're doing something like cleaning the floors, I think. There's this sense of getting down on your knees, humbling yourself, even bowing down and just saying, thank you, thank you. I appreciate this so much. I am so lucky to have this and that I get to clean this. What else? Another habit that I have that I think is an unusual good habit is when I'm outdoors, whether I'm at home, especially when I'm traveling, but even when I'm home, I do this thing, I'll call it global positioning. I kind of look up from wherever I am and I imagine that I'm zooming out and I'm looking back down at myself on whatever position that I am on the earth. Do I even know why I do it? I think I do it because it just gives me perspective. It's a bit like looking up at the stars, is it? And it just helps me appreciate where I am on the earth. And you can do this no matter where you are. It's just this sense of wonder that I am on this tiny point on the earth. And I can visualize, I can orient myself in, okay, this piece of land is here, the coast is here, there's a lake there. And somehow that kind of zooming out and orienting, yes, it can put things into perspective, and sometimes whatever you're worried about in that moment can really shrink down. And I guess it's this moment of mindfulness, because all of a sudden you're really paying attention to where you are in time and space. And there's something really stabilizing and centering about that. I think it's pretty great. Okay, my final one that I'll share today, and by the way, when I went to make this list of my unusual good habits, I discovered that I have a lot. So if this is fun, if this is the type of video that you enjoy, maybe consider subscribing if you haven't already, and also maybe leave a comment. That way I'll know I can maybe even make a part 2 one day. Okay, this one feels personal. I don't know why, I feel almost a little bit shy sharing this one, but I have a board up on my wall, and I guess I call it my archetype board. And what it is, it's photographs of people, mostly public figures, that to me, just like an archetype might represent certain qualities, they represent certain qualities that I aspire to embody. It's a little bit like, do you remember power poses in the 80s? Actually, I don't know if it was in the 80s. Let me look it up. Okay, so I just looked it up and it wasn't actually, I don't think it was in the 80s. It was like in the early 2000s, but this idea came into the mainstream of power poses and how if you take on literally a pose of someone powerful or you mimic this really empowered pose or any quality that you want to embody, it can truly help you feel more confident or empowered or whatever the thing is. So I like to have images of these people on my board, and it's something that I glance at probably most mornings, and a lot of times I'll find myself drawn to one of the many figures that I have up there, and they represent a quality that I want to have. And just gazing at this picture reminds me. And in a lot of spiritual practice, there's a similar idea, right? You can have Chenrezig or figures that represent compassion or kindness or wisdom. That's what deities really can represent for us. Visualizing them or having them somewhere as a reminder can help us to embody these qualities. So it's really like that. I feel kind of shy to share my board, but I'll try to put an image up on the screen, at least one of the figures that I have up there. And it's actually an image of Sir Ian McKellen and Sir Patrick Stewart from a production of Waiting for Godot that I would give anything to go back in time and see. But for me, this image just represents, they look silly in the picture. Waiting for Godot is an absurdist play. So the whole image really evokes the philosophy of absurdism for me. And it just reminds me not to take things seriously. And even their facial expressions and their postures, I could even like put that on a little bit or just see it and laugh at it. And somehow seeing that image and knowing what that figure represents for me is like a faster way to reconnect, a faster way to remember. So we can actually try this as a super quick exercise together right now, wherever you are. So take a moment and really try to bring to mind someone, a figure. This could even be someone that you know personally or a distant acquaintance that has something about their personality, something about the way that they carry themselves, something about their being that really inspires you and that you want to embody. So again, whether it's a friend, an acquaintance, a public figure, a spiritual figure, just take a moment to choose your figure, choose your archetype, and really bring them to mind. Remember what you appreciate about them. And of course, this could totally be a projection. We may not actually know this person. They may not actually have these qualities that we imagine, but none of that matters because it is just a representation. It is just an archetype. So whatever they represent for you works just fine. So this might be someone who has a lot of confidence, a lot of charisma, someone who is super kind, someone who is super present, someone who just is a very relaxed and awake and open presence, and you really admire that about them. Maybe it feels good to be in their company, whatever it is. So once you have this figure in mind, maybe imagine, just for the exercise today, that you're going to play them in a movie, okay? So if you're going to play them in the movie, you really have to get to know what it feels like to be them from the inside. So really you might imagine how they carry themselves, how they walk, how they talk. Is there a catchphrase or a way of talking that they have? Any familiar gestures that they make, facial expressions, whatever there is that you can really connect with. And so whether you're sitting or you want to fully get into this right now and stand up and walk around, really see if you can get into it. And so I'm going to put this down. Again, notice how you're breathing. Notice how you're carrying the body, the posture, and it doesn't have to be like this, right? The posture can really be, depending on that quality, the posture can be relaxed, can be in flow, can be carefree, whatever it is. So for me, because I tend to need to relax and soften, what I really admire in others is this sense of maybe leaning back, of having a soft posture, relaxed, a soft belly, breath that comes in and out easily. Maybe there's this, I'm thinking of someone like Tori Amos. Tori Amos might also be up on my board, but someone who represents this unapologetic presence, and almost like when she plays piano, she has like a slinky way that she moves, very sensual. So you might like, whatever it is for you, you might bring that in and try it on. How does it feel like to sit like them? How would they be sitting here right now? And if you're alone in your room, then, you can really get into it and you don't have to be shy about it. And then in daily life, you can bring even a smallest degree of that in to the body and connect with those qualities. And it can be really subtle. No one around you has to know you're doing it, right? It can be almost like an energetic shift from whatever you're doing. Maybe you're feeling a little tight, maybe not so relaxed, a little tense. And then you can just a little bit shift into that posture of that person that you have in mind. Just creep into that posture a little bit. I think it's a really good habit and might be a bit unusual and really powerful, and something that I wish more people would tap into. Okay, I'm gonna pause here for today. Like I said, I have many more that I can share later. This is a way to build our practice of presence, embodiment, alignment into our everyday life. Plus it's fun. I just know that you have some strange, unusual, maybe unlikely habits yourself. So please share them in the comments. It is an act of service. It is an act of generosity to all of us reading the comments. So that's it. Thank you for watching. This was a really fun one. Here is your reminder to do all the things that help this new channel out. If you feel like you really connect with my point of view and my approach, I hope you join my email list as well. The link is down below. And that's it. Thank you for being here. This was really fun, and I'll see you in the next one. I love you already. Bye.